But Bermuda people sound, yeah, it really sound really nice. It doesn't sound like, I don't know.
It sounds like suffers.
Yeah, it does sound like.
Oh no, we're not. It's a very wealthy country. It's the most expensive place to live, but it's not ideal to live.
So, okay, just say there's 500 people. Are people balling? Are they Bentley driving, Ferrari driving? No.
No, we don't have none of that.
No, really?
Nah. You're lucky if you see, and no, you don't even have Audis. Like the most expensive car you'll see is like a Mercedes Benz or a BMW.
Are there mansions with pools?
Pardon?
Are there mansions?
I did that.
Mansions, like
Yeah.
big houses?
Big
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like $5 million, maybe more.
So you got the rich, but the average is, you got the rich and just the poor. There's no in between.
It feels like that. Let's put it that way.
It be like that sometimes.
The size of Manchester, what the average person goes like say you got a house with mom, dad, and 3 daughters. What, does the daughter work in Costa or Greg's, the McDonald's? That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to picture out.
Yeah, pretty much. Like even if you have 2 incomes, depending on where you live, it's still hard for you. And depending on what type of job you have as well. Okay. They literally just moved the minimum wage to $16 an hour.
That's more than here, no?
But that's still not. It's still not a livable wage in Bermuda.
Probably around the same. $16 would be like 13 quid or 12 quid.
I just feel if I lived there, I just have to be a farmer. That's what I'm thinking. Why aren't you all just farmers? Like, I don't get it. Why don't you all just grow your own stuff?
You think it's more farmland, but it's not as much as you would think.
No.
Like we have.
What's the Afflex Traders password?
It's shoppers.
Shoppers. Yeah. And it's Afflex or Afflex Traders.
Afflex Traders. Just put up, Afflex Traders. Okay, we're starting. Oh.
Ready?
Am I on?
Yeah, it should be on.
Hello?
Welcome to another
episode.
No, it's no feedback. You're just hoping.
So you know we're on. Are you just guessing we're on or I'm checking?
If we're not, we're not. Welcome to another.
We're not. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Black Iceland Club podcast. My name is Sakudini, and I'm on a journey from unknown to unforgettable. And today I have with me
Alberto.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Alberto.
Yes, it's Alberto from Manchester. I'm a fashion designer. I'm a DJ. Fashion designer, DJ, hustler, just every day surviving.
Every day surviving. Yeah. So you said you're a fashion designer. When did you get into fashion?
So the beginning was probably like childhood, because I think that's when you kind of get all the stuff implanted into like your subconscious. So I think when I was young, I used to remember watching fashion TV. I always used to try dress different. And then the last probably 10 years, I got more into just, because I was trying to be different, I got into making my own stuff.
Okay.
And then I'd make something and then something like, oh, that's nice. Where can I buy that? It's like, no, it's just me. I made it. And when you hear that too much, you think I could make a living off this. And that's how I started making and selling.
Okay.
So before it was just for me to look good. And then I upgraded to making and selling.
So what would you say was the first thing you sold?
The first thing I sold? What was the first top I sold that I made? The first top I sold that I made. Oh, we're going back years now. Let me think. What's the first top I could think of?
Or how much was it? If that's easier.
So, I'll tell you the first top I sold. That comes to my head. So, we had this brand. It was called, so I thought about this brand called All Suits. Mm-hmm. As in like cards. So you take like, for example, like, heart. And then you'd be like, I love clubs. Like the clubbing. So that was the first thing we did. And I remember there was a group of us. So every Saturday we used to go gym. Me and my boys, there was 4 of us in this group. We used to go gym and all just wear these tops. And we all go out. So we'll go gym, then hit the first bar, like daytime drinking, then go out. But we all had a dress code. And my dress code those days was like, I used to wear the top. And I'd wear like, remember the Gucci belt, denim jeans. I used to have the leather Converse.
Okay.
And there's like a local gangster. We used to go out. We know a friend of ours, and I remember he came up to us and he goes, "Oh, where do you guys get this? Where do you get this drip from?" And we're like, "We just made this. We just made ourselves." And he ordered like 6 T-shirts back then. And he goes, "How much do you sell them for?" And we're just like, £60. And he gave us like like 300 pounds right then. I said, okay, cool. I want these t-shirts tomorrow. And that was like the first proper sale we made.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. So, what did the process of making those T-shirts come like? Because he said it wouldn't done tomorrow. So,
That's so funny. So what happened was, me being an idiot, those days we never used to get like 300 pounds a day just doing nothing. Does it make sense? So I was the best way to describe myself when it comes to this fashion thing is I'm more of a creator. Some as in like I take ideas and I put them together. Does it make sense? I've never really mastered sewing or mastered art or mastered printing. I'm more like if you could sew, I think you could sew that and I make somebody else print that. So I put stuff together very well.
Okay.
So in this group I was in, one of my friends was a graphic designer. So I gave him the ideas for him to make. So when we sold those t-shirts for 300 pounds, we went out that night. We spent the whole money that night. Went out that night. The next day, that gangster guy called at 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, yo, I need my t-shirts. I'm going to London. And I was like, bro, I'm in bed. And I gave him my other guy's number, which I shouldn't have really, but they were cool. So I gave him the designer's number. And I remember he went to this guy's house and he picked up the guy. He had to make them for him while he was there.
wow.
Yeah. But what we did, we took, diamantes, like the little diamond things. So yeah, so just like you just stick them onto a design, yeah. And that's what happened. So you had to make them for the guy the next day or morning while I was still asleep.
That's
So
not cool.
that's the process.
Okay. So, what would you say you did next after that?
From obviously we did that. We sold a couple. We kept on selling. But it was always something that we never took serious. If that makes sense. And it's only when we came to Manchester. Obviously there's a group of us, but my personal journey was I had an office job. And I just didn't like the office job. Like I was just tired of working the office job. And I walked past this building right now actually. And they said you could rent a spot for like a week, but you could rent and pay weekly. So there's no contract. And I thought, well, if I could just rent for a week, let me just try sell something. So I obviously quit the office job I had and I came here for 1 week and I just got different t-shirts from different people I know who got clothing brands.
Okay.
I said, give me your t-shirts, I'll sell them for you, but give me a percentage. And then I did that for the 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then when I got rid of their stock, I started thinking what I could make. And then I started adding my stuff into it.
Okay.
And then a month or 2 months later, there was none of that stuff, it was all my stuff. And that's how I got into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what type of clothing do you sell now?
So obviously I've been to different stuff as in for manufacturing, as in manufacturers getting stuff tailored. Now I'm more creative. So there's more of my touch in everything I make. So I do more customized stuff.
Okay.
So if I make a jacket, it's like art. It's like paintings. I'll make a jacket. I make a lot of one-offs. Yeah. I do have lots of t-shirts with the images I do. So that sells really well. And yeah, so it's just mostly images and jackets. But this is just the first step of my plan.
Okay.
So there's 3-4 steps I got ahead, but this is the first step.
Okay. So, what would you say is the next step?
The next step is obviously having levels of what people could buy. So, for example, my jackets, when I first made my first jackets, they're my best sellers. They were £40. The first jacket I made in the shop when I sell them. Now the average jacket is £150 to £200. The goal is to move the jackets to at least £400-500. Once I move them up to that, I'm going to have stuff in the shop, like the t-shirts and the hoodies, that are going to be around 50-60. So people would still use. So I'm trying to make the name a house brand name, if that makes sense. So people come there for the t-shirts, for the hoodies. That will sell every day, but you get the few people who come for the jackets. So I'm trying to make the jackets more unique and more, what's the word I'm looking for? More personal, if that makes sense. Yeah, more limited.
Okay.
Yeah, so not everybody could have a jacket.
Right.
For now, everybody's getting a jacket.
Okay.
But in the next 5-6 months, the price range would be so high, it'd just be, to be selected people.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be a luxury.
So, it's also changing your customers.
Yes, yeah, the changing my customers, which is the journey I'm on right now. With the customers, so far, I've got a lot of customers who come back, and that's the best part about what I do. When you buy one jacket, people are buying 2 or 3, 4 jackets. So my customers are returning. So the customers I got with me are growing with me. The biggest question I had to think about is what's my age group I want to go for? And I had to think about this a lot. What is my age bracket? And I thought, you know what, am I 18 to 20, 23? And the more, sometimes the streets will tell you what your age group is.
Right.
And I've noticed with what I do, from the designs, it goes from 18 to at least 40 based on what designs. So what I focused on was I started making different lines to cater for different people.
Okay.
So for example, I got something called the Good Die Young, and that's all the young artists. The what do you call them? The Generation Z. That's the name, yeah.
Gen
So
Z.
it's a lot of artists like Gen Z, yeah. Lots of artists like that, and the young people love that. But then I got the Stay Woke, the Erica Badu, the Lauryn Hill, and that's the older group. So yes, I'm hitting both markets. Is it a good idea? It de- it is and it's not, and that's where probably the big question comes in: is how can I make sure anybody who's young or old can still be appreciate what it is?
Right.
And that's where I probably say I need to get that balance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because obviously young people like young stuff, old people like old stuff. So my goal right now is trying to get a balance of how I cater for both, and the way I do that is by doing different lines. A different each line is a. I'll go back one step. So what I've done is the way I've called my shop. I call my shop a studio.
Okay.
So it's an art studio. So in that studio, you get different stuff. So in that studio, you get some that caters for the young people. Do it make sense?
Yeah.
So it's no more the name of a brand. It's more of a studio, a lifestyle, a place to go to get swag. If
Right.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's how I've handled each category.
Okay. Very nice.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that
Good.
makes
Cool.
sense. So just had a question too. How long have you been in this building?
So in this building, this is the second time I've been in this building. The first time I was here for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
With that brand, it was obviously just more throwaway fashion. I was doing t-shirts, sunglasses. I moved away to London. I came back, so I've been here now for 2 years, a year and a half. Yeah, but I've got a smaller store, which is better. Also, on a better placement too. Where I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Before I was upstairs on third floor, it wasn't the best spot to be. Now I'm on the first floor. I get a lot more footfall. It's not as big as I want it to be, but it's perfectly sized for this building.
Okay.
Yeah. To move
So
forward.
what can someone who's listening or watching come and find in your store?
Say it again.
What can someone who's listening come and find in your store? Like the designs.
With when you come to our store, you're going see the thing with fashion at the moment. Everybody, the way fashion works, it's like a ladder. There's people at the top, and everybody follows, but everybody makes a small change to that version of it. If that makes sense. You look at street fashion, you got something like Fear of God, for example. I don't heard of Fear of God. It's a big clothing brand.
Yeah.
Kanye, Yeezy, whatever. Somebody who's so high end. A lot of brands are kind of takes of those. A Hundredtags studio, it's art. So when you come to a place, you're just going to find art
Where?
with clothes. Does it make sense? Everything is different. You know, you're not going to find. I mean, there's people who do what I do, and there's people who I look up to, who I've learned from, who do what I do. But if you buy something from my store, you're not going to see somebody down the street wearing it because it's a studio of art.
Right.
It's like when you go to buy a painting for Michael, you don't go see the same painting by Peter. It's a different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with my stuff, it's art. So if you come to my shop, all you're going to find is art. But with the art, we'll put the fashion with it. That's where the colors come in, the swag comes in, the drop comes in. Does it make sense? We also believe in music, so we're very culture too. So it's fashion, music, and art.
Okay.
Just culture, all culture.
So what would you say is one of your best sellers other than the jackets?
The song. I mean, the jackets. You got the t-shirts. The t-shirts do very well because the t-shirts are different. Everything on the jacket comes in a t-shirt too, by the way.
Okay.
So you get that, and also I also sell sunglasses. And due to the fact that it's art, our sunglasses are quite crazy, so they do really well. So we've got a big range of sunglasses. Not today because they haven't come in yet, but we've got a big range of sunglasses, and it just makes it. They do really well. I don't think. I wonder why people don't sell the same sunglasses I sell, because just you know what I mean, just crazy sunglasses. Yeah, so yeah, I don't see them that much outside from my
Okay.
store.
Is there anything else you wanna let us know about your business and what you do?
No, it's called the Hundredtags Studios. We post everywhere around the whole world. Check out our Instagram. Check out our website. 100 as in letters. HUNDREDTAGS. 100 Tags Studios. And yeah, and also we do offer customization, so you could create your own clothing.
Okay.
So that's what's special too about what we do. So if you got a favorite artist or somebody you like, you could have that made for you. So you can have your own personal jacket, your own personal T-shirt with your own personal image. So it's literally your top, a one of one that nobody's ever going to have. If you go to a club, nobody in the queue is going to wear the same top you're wearing. It's just you, and that's special.
Yeah,
Would you agree?
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
because too many people out here walking around with the same stuff.
Looking like you. What's that thing? Remember? Is it Lemmings? Do you know Lemmings? Was it Lemmings? Am I too old? Is that too old school? Used to be a game of those things that all look the same, like Smurfs.
I don't know.
No? Okay. There goes that conversation. Anyway, let's keep it moving.
All right, so I'm just gonna ask you these questions that I ask everyone that's on the podcast. What advice would you give to 18-year-old you about what you're doing now?
To 18-year-old me, the best advice I'll give to an 18-year-old me is always gamble on yourself. Sometimes when people are young, they've got good ideas, but always trying to find a business partner. Oh, we should do this together. And you end up trying to get your mates to do it. But then when you get your friends are lazy or your friends got their own ideas. So if you got an idea, gamble on yourself. And trust me, once you take the first few steps and you get momentum, everybody else want to jump on your wagon. And they would work for you and help you to get to your vision. But if you tell people from the beginning, jump on, they could destruct your vision. So, yeah. So just always gamble on yourself.
Okay. What advice would you give to our listeners on entrepreneurship?
Um, what advice? If I think of any advice about business, number one, I'll probably say, okay, let me make this more thing. I'm trying to see if I could put them in order. How would I put them in order? First of all, I'll say be teachable. That's number one. Teachable as in like, must be always willing to learn. Always be willing to learn. You don't know everything, and listen. And whatever you listen to, it might not be right, but listen and then go and make a decision. So number one, I'll say be teachable. Number two, I'll say planning. Planning is very important. I think the separation, this preparation is key. Does it make sense?
Yep.
So plan, write down your goals, write down your journey. Through that journey, you're going to go through speed bumps, but always plan. The separation is in the preparation. That's what makes people different. Is they're prepared, and that's what will lead to luck. Because I think luck is just being ready for a situation. So I'll say teachable, be willing to learn, planning. Okay, write down your goals, discipline. Discipline is key. A lot of people, when you start a business, you don't know how to use your money. You sell a couple of stuff, you spend your money and try to look good. So discipline yourself with the money. Pay yourself minimum wage. Don't just sell something and think you're winning. You know what I mean? So planning. So teachable, teachable, planning, discipline. And I'll say those three are kind of good.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's next for you in your business?
The next step now with the business is, for me, is to market myself outside the city. I think I've done quite well in the city. I do have people around the world. So my next step is to master online. Online is very important with the business, but I started off with just doing face to face. So having a shop. But I feel like I've got the stage where now I've reached the limit of, not just the limit, but I'm at a very good point with face to face. So now it's mastering online. It's going back to be teachable, to learn about online. So that's what I'm doing now. So the next part of our business is online, is just to take over the internet.
Okay. What would you say to your future self 5 years from now?
Ooh, that's a nice question. What would I say to my future self 5 years from now?
So you're gonna watch this in 5 years, and this is the advice that you gave yourself.
Wait. So if I watch in 5 years,
So you're speaking to your future self,
yeah,
and you're telling yourself something for 5 years from now.
okay. So I'm speaking as from the future, think about now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking back.
No, you're looking forward.
Okay. Okay, so what would I tell myself in 5 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
In 5 years' time, if I saw this,
What would you want to hear yourself say?
I would want to hear. I'm not going to think of an honest answer. What would be an honest answer I want to hear myself say in 5 years' time is well done. Yeah, I think just well done. The fact that I'm doing something, is an amazing thing. So well done. Yeah, that'd be nice. You
Okay.
set yourself. Well done.
And lastly, where do you see yourself in your business in 5 years' time?
Where do I see myself with my business in 5 years' time? Looking at, okay, I won't tell too much about my plans, but personally for me is this business is a vehicle, one of my many vehicles, one of my many vehicles to success.
Okay.
Does it make sense? So in 5 years' time, because it's fashion and it's part of who I am, no matter how successful I'll be, I'll always be doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's just one of the vehicles to success. I might get to a time where I don't have to do it for the money. I might do, but I always do it because it's what I love.
Right.
Yeah. So in 5 years' time, this is one of the vehicles for success.
Okay. And do you have any questions for me?
Yes. What's your plan with this podcast? What's your goal with this whole podcast?
The goal is to be traveling worldwide, speaking to melanated individuals that are doing great things to highlight Black excellence.
Okay. So just Black excellence.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give me for my business so far?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say get online as soon as you can.
Get as nice as you can.
Yeah, because you said you already have like a base of people that keep coming back.
Yeah.
So now instead of them having to physically come to you, they can go to your link,
My link, yeah.
and they can also easily share it that way.
And what's going to make your podcast different to other podcasts that do similar things?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You messed up now. I thought you were going to come here and ask me in my city. No, no.
What makes my podcast different from others?
Yeah.
I haven't figured that out yet, but I feel like it's bringing a new light to things because it's highlighting people and what they're doing, and it's also teaching people how to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's what it is.
I think what I would say, what I think you got is the responsibility of actually going out there and doing it. I think that's already a big step. So many people want to do what you're doing, but the fact that you're just going to a new city and you're asking people, that's impressive. So I would say that's what makes you different to other people. The fact that you're gambling on yourself and you're going out there and you're doing it. So
Thank you. I
keep
appreciate
it up.
that.
Keep it up.
Appreciate it. All right, guys.
Cool.
That's
Thank you very
another
much.
episode of the Black Access Club podcast.